Hello guys, it's me Simo Urahara, and in this video we'll talk about Hiraku's Bankai. Is it a useless Bankai or not? But before getting into the heart of this video, I would like to answer this viewer, and every viewer who has the same question. Why do I make short videos recently? Is it for money? To begin with, whether the videos are short or long, their main purpose is to provide content in exchange for financial profit. And it's the opposite, man. The long videos are the one in which the financial profits is bigger than the short ones. And therefore, if I really want to make more money, I have to make longer videos. And this is known to every YouTuber. So for the money case, that's not accurate. Besides that, I work alone, and this is another factor that makes me do short videos. But the main purpose, as it knows for many, during this year I have annual exams and therefore I must prepare for them as well as maintain a certain amount of videos. So as usual, this month there will be topics for short videos as well as regular long videos. So I hope guys that some people will understand this matter, and this is also a good chance to thank all the channel members who are in my channel and support me. Thank you guys so much. So guys, let's talk about Hiraku's Bankai. Is it a useless Bankai or not? Of course, the word useless may carry a wide meaning, but in the end, its meaning may differ for each person when it comes to what is a useless Bankai in Bleach. For me, a useless Bankai is the Bankai that cannot offer a real help during the battle that a Shinigami is fighting against a particular opponent. Especially since the Shinigami, and I'm talking about the captains, do not fight in organized armies, but most of their fights are divided to each captain versus an opponent, and we've seen that in many fights of the captains. So based on this idea, I can say that the most effective Bankai are the ones that have a direct attacks and lethal or strong ability and are enveloped by a strong Ryatsu. For example, Gin's Bankai is one of the most effective Bankai in Bleach. It only takes one hit and it's over, because the Bankai puts a piece of poison inside the opponent's body and it's the end. Thus, the Bankai will not harm anyone but the person Gin is fighting. One more example, the same can be said for Byakuya's Bankai. Byakuya can release his attacks on whomever he wants, and protecting even his allies, and using Shinbon as a shield and also providing a safety zone for him personally. Thus, it can be said that this kind of Bankai are in the category of Bankai that have a great effectiveness, and each Bankai that has the same characteristics that not pose a threat on its owner or his surroundings and have the ability to defeat the opponent, we can put them in this category. Then there is the second category, and are the Bankai with a destructive power, but they have some side effects on their owners or their surroundings, but despite that, these Bankai are very effective. Perhaps the most prominent example we have is the Bankai of Yamamoto, Zanka no Tachi. The Bankai raises the heat of the entire Soul Society, which could pose a danger to the Soul Society itself if the old man continues to use it for a long time. Not only that, but Zanka no Tachi is even capable of killing the old man himself if he continues to use it for a long time. On the other hand, Yamamoto is able to defeat either his enemy or many enemies with his legendary Bankai. However, Yamamoto can avoid the danger of this Bankai by using only one side of his Bankai in a short time, thus avoiding damage to his surroundings. That's why, despite the danger of Zanka no Tachi, it can be used among allies, and this is what we have seen. Yamamoto used his Bankai and no one in his surroundings suffered any real harm. The only damage we have seen is the high temperature and the melt of Toshiro's Bankai. Then comes the Bankai, which are more difficult to launch and require the absence of allies in order not to be harmed by the Bankai's ability. And I'm talking here about Kyoraku's Bankai. The Bankai has a wide range, so that even Kyoraku himself is exposed to damage, such as what happens to him in the first chapter and the third chapter. But as I said, Kyoraku's Bankai is still strong, very strong, and it can have a very strong effect on the strongest enemies. If it hadn't for the immortality plot of Lilibaro, Kyoraku should have won the fight using the last chapter of his Bankai. Therefore, although Kyoraku's Bankai has negative effects, whether on him personally or his surroundings, the Bankai strength is enough to make it very effective, whether against strong or weak opponents. But when it comes to Hiraku's Bankai, the Bankai has many negatives, and the positives are almost negligible if it's compared to the negatives of his Bankai, because, as I said before, Hiraku's statement about his Zanpakuto is the biggest evidence of how weak the Bankai is. First of all, the Bankai can never be released by Hiraku on a battlefield mixed with allies and enemies, so that the Bankai's ability is to make a group of enemies fight each other by manipulating the concept of enemy and friend. And I mean, it's not a Bankai that enables its owner to fight a specific opponent, such as Gin's Bankai or Byakuya's Bankai, etc. And the biggest problem of this Bankai is the ability itself cannot be used against one opponent. Meaning, for example, Hiraku and Kyoraku share the ability that their Bankai have a wide range, but at least Kyoraku can use it against one person, and we have seen that against Lilibaro. But the matter is different for Hiraku. Hiraku cannot fight one particular person, because in order for his Bankai to be activated, there must be at least two people or two opponents, and they are enemies, so that each one of them sees the other as his enemy and they will start fighting each other. In addition to that, and this is the point that I see the weakest point in the matter of his Bankai, is that with all these obstacles, the Bankai is suitable only for the weak soldiers of the enemy. And this may explain why we have seen Hiraku in the trailer is about to fight just a bunch of soldiers. That's why I said at the beginning of this video that the captain's battle are mostly against strong enemies and one-on-one battle, or a captain and vice captain against an enemy, as happened in the first invasion. And I can say to you more than that. If the Sternreiter didn't have the medallion, even Hiraku at that situation, he wouldn't be able to use his Bankai because he was fighting with Momo with him and the rest of his soldiers, so he wouldn't able to use the Bankai. And even if he had the ability to use the Bankai, he wouldn't use it against strong people like Bambita and the Quincy girls plus Giselle, or someone, I don't know, because it was clear what he said in the novel. The Bankai is only for the foot soldiers, not for the big ones, not for the Sternreiter. So if it happens what we have seen in the trailer that Hiraku will use the Bankai against soldiers, that will make the Bankai, for me at least, a useless Bankai by all the measures. Because at least Ikako fought Arankara, or maybe Soifon, she used the Bankai against Baragan, and Sajin Kumamura used his Bankai against Bambita. And all these Bankais, we have said before that they are maybe weak or something like that. But Hiraku's Bankai using the Bankai against soldiers, that will be a disaster for me, which will make it for me a useless Bankai. So guys, tell me your opinion about this Bankai, and see you in my next video.